All right, all right, all right. Good morning. Can you all hear me? I hear that there's no sound. I'm looking at some of the comments. Can you hear me this morning? All right, happy Monday, everybody. Let me play my theme song really quickly since I'm a couple minutes behind schedule. You already know. All right, I'm so happy to be here with you all this very beautiful Monday morning. I'm excited. Happy Monday. We are zooming through Black History Month. We're zooming through February. We're zooming through the year. A friend of mine, we were having dinner maybe at some point in January, and she said, "This has been the longest. This has been the longest year this month," and she was talking about January alone. So yes, it feels like we are in the trenches. Man, so I hope you all had a really good weekend. I had a great weekend. Quiet, but really good. And I got a chance to see Kev on stage this weekend. I'm so happy about that because, a lot of times we think about people's measurement of success through arenas. And he had his comedy show at a church and it was packed. It was packed. So a lot of times people feel like, well, I need to book an arena. And sometimes you can just book a building. You could just book a church and, your talent will be seen, your words will be heard. It does not have to be the magnitude of an arena. So I'm so grateful for Kev on stage. I enjoy Black men who are focused on their business, their families, and constantly trying to do the best that they can. And I believe that he falls into that space very easily. I don't know him personally, but he just really comes off as a as is kind of guy. So he was funny too. It was very funny. It was a comedy show. It was a good laugh. I don't know if you follow him on social media, but his name is Kev on stage. You usually see him doing something very funny, very comedic. He talked about how he has a BET show that's going to air this summer called Churchy, which is another thing that is inspiring. So a lot of times our thought process and access to opportunity is always funneling through other people, that we sometimes forget that we can create the opportunity that we desire. So seeing him this weekend reminded me that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do as it relates to showing up every Monday through Friday 9:30 a.m. If I want to be a talk show host, if I want to talk about certain topics, it is not healthy to think that other people are supposed to grant me that permission. The healthiest approach, and I say this to you, if you want to talk, if you want to do something, the healthiest approach is to do it yourself. I remember Dr. Boyce teaching me when I was in college. One of the things that he told me that I will never forget, he said, well, what's your plan? What do you want to do? And I started talking about my plan. He says, well, let me just tell you something. If your plan consists of too many people to succeed, it will fail. Let me tell you something. Do you hear him? He said, if your plan consists of too many people to succeed, it will fail. Yes, that means that you got to do a lot of things yourself in the beginning of a lot of things. You got to do it yourself. You want to write a story, you want to write a book, you want to write a script. You got to do it yourself. You can find the other components, but everything starts with you. All right, before I go any further, let me say a quick prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this Monday morning. We appreciate you. We thank you for allowing us to see the light of day. We do not exist without your approval. We do not exist without your power. We know that you are our power source. All things can happen through you. We love you. We appreciate you. We're asking for your guidance, for your protection, for your love, for your peace, for your stability in all areas of our lives. In your name we pray. Amen. All right. Amen. All right. So I want to talk about something that I saw online that has been like catching heat all through threads. Are you guys social media people? Um, I know that you all probably in your, late 30s, early 40s. If you're in your 50s, then you Facebook all day. That's just genuinely, the demographic of Facebook, aunties and uncles. And I am an auntie, I guess, because I'm on Facebook too. But okay, yeah. All right, William. Thank you so much. Thank you from coming up here from Instagram. I appreciate that. Bring some more people with you. Also, I just want to say that. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with Isaac Hayes. Are you familiar with Isaac Hayes? Put Isaac Hayes in the chat. Isaac Hayes the third. Isaac Hayes the third. All right, I want you to see Isaac Hayes the third. Here is Isaac Hayes, Isaac Hayes the third right here. I want you to see who he is because if you ever run into him online, offline, you know exactly who he is. This is Isaac Hayes. He is the owner and creator of a social media platform titled Fanbase. Let me do this like this. Isaac Hayes is the owner and creator of a social media platform titled Fanbase. Now, Fanbase was and is a social media platform that has a similar interface as Instagram. It's a similar interface. It's not identical. But my experience with Fanbase is that it reminds me, or the experience feels like Instagram when it first started. Okay. I'm sorry. I had an important message to come through. I apologize about that. So the point that I want to make is, he is a Black man who has created a platform outside of Meta. When you create something outside of the status quo, there are a lot of challenges behind it. Instagram, Facebook, we don't just do these things because that's all we have. We do these things because these platforms are the most financially lucrative. They're in our face. And sometimes we can be very lazy about spreading our wings, going to all different platforms. Sometimes we just feel like, well, this is what it is. I remember when I signed up for Facebook, a friend of mine, we were in college or, some summer, she said, have you heard of Facebook? I was like, no. And then, I don't know if I enjoyed it or liked it or not. I didn't even know much about it. She was like, well, it's Facebook. She was like, you should log on. And mind you, this is so many years ago, probably over 20 years ago. She said, you should log on, sign up. She said, once you sign up, it's going to connect you with people that you went to school with. I'm like, I want to see everybody I went to school with. You know how you are when you're young. And so, all that to say, we sign up. We didn't ask any questions. We like, yeah, sign me up. Yeah, whatever's good for the, you is good for me. So we on Facebook. Mind you, we ask no questions. We just do it. We continue to do it. All that to say that Isaac Hayes and this Black woman named Franchesca Ramsey got into a social media beef this weekend that really pissed me off. And the reason that it pissed me off is because I don't feel like we have to have these full out brawls in front of the public, nor do I feel like we should be beating each other up in front of the public to the extent that it can interfere with a person's ability to have people sign up for their ad, right? So, but then at the same time, it's just kind of like, you know, here's the story. I'm going to show you. I'm going to remove myself out of the story and let you all see the story. Here's how it started. So, Isaac Hayes and Franchesca, they have this internet beef. And the reason that they're in an internet beef is because of something as simple as his tweets about Drake and other. I also want to make a disclaimer to my Black women. I love you and I care about you, but I'm not going to tolerate nonsense because you are a woman. Same thing for men. I'm not going to tolerate you being insane, you automatically labeling men misogynistic, automatically labeling men as abusers because you are a woman. It is not healthy. It's not even sane. It's not even accurate. So all that to say that this gets into some of that right here, but let me show you first how it started. I'm sharing my screen right now, showing you what Isaac Hayes said about Drake recently, or at some point, I guess the Drake feud. So the Drake situation, it says, I thought Drake was finished. Who said he was finished? Tag someone that said Drake was finished. This don't look like finished to me. And then he shows the charts of Drake and his new music, top songs, all of that stuff, right? Blah, blah, blah. Now, I don't know how these two got into a full out brawl, but when I tell you it was crazy. So let me show you what Franchesca Ramsey did to Isaac Hayes. Here's what she stated. All right. This is what she stated in the past about joining Fanbase. She talked about this in January, how she felt like being Black wasn't enough to join the platform. So here's what she said in January. I'm going to show you this right here. All right, here it is. If you could see, just put Fanbase in the chat.
I'm gonna hold your hand while I say this, and I need you not to get mad at me, okay? Being Black owned is not enough of an incentive for me. I have gotten so many comments that are like, well, you'll support a Chinese owned app, but you want to support a Black owned app. That's what's wrong with us. And to that I say, shaming people is not how you get customers. Because look, I want Black people to win, absolutely. But think about it this way. If you recommended a restaurant to me and I said, how's the food? And your response was, well, it's Black owned. I'm going to go, how's the food? Because I have seen so many people suggesting that I should join Fanbase, and it's no shade to Isaac Hayes III, no shade to that team, but I've yet to hear a compelling argument for why I should join beyond the fact that it's Black owned. The other thing that's really annoying to me about this argument is that so many people are like, you don't support Black owned businesses. That's not true. My favorite makeup brand, Danessa Myricks, Black owned, blackity black, black, black. But at the end of the day, if you want people to support your product, your business, your show, your brand, whatever it is, the product has to be so good and so compelling that the fact that it's Black owned is a plus on top of the product already being good. And before you say, well, you can import all of your TikToks to Fanbase, okay, that's not a feature that I want or need, because a lot of the stuff I post on TikTok does not work elsewhere, and that's why I don't post it there in the first place. Also, this lip gloss, Mented, also Black owned. Look at that.
Okay, so that's one of the videos that got, her in the star with Isaac Hayes. That's one. But this is the video that started the fight between the two of them. It's right here.
You remember back in January when we thought that we were losing TikTok and a bunch of people were saying, you should join Fanbase because it's Black owned. And I said, being Black owned is not enough. No shade to Fanbase, no shade to Isaac Hayes III, the founder. It's just, I don't see a reason to join. And y'all tried to eat me up because I remember y'all said I was anti-Black. You said I don't support Black businesses and I'm a sellout and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, one thing about my intuition is it's rarely wrong because Isaac Hayes III hopped onto Blue Ivy's internet to proclaim that it's the kids that will decide if Drake's music is relevant or not. And in this post, he says, the world belongs to K. Sinnott. The one who said that Black Americans don't have any culture, that one? Academics. Oh, the one who was just caught grooming a 15-year-old boy on his live stream? And Aiden Ross. Oh, right. Isn't that the one that platformed Andrew Tate, lots of white supremacists, used racial slurs, said he watches his sister's OnlyFans, and was campaigning for Donald Trump? The world belongs to those three motherfuckers? Okay, cool. And then when someone said, hey, maybe you should focus on updating your app so that it can actually compete with Instagram and TikTok like you want it to, his response was to say, you can't spell and you have too much foundation on. Yeah, this is a 49-year-old man, and here is how he responds to criticism. This is the person who wants us to rush to his app and support it and spend $399 so that we can be investors in his app. Yeah, but my favorite moment by far was when a number of people said, hey, you know, Drake has actually said some like sketchy things about young girls. And Isaac said, if you think Drake has had relation with teen girls, then you need to get off the internet. Oh, really?
What about your relationship with Drake? Tell me about your friendship. How did this all come about? I love him. I met him in Australia, and he's honestly so fantastic and a great friend and a great role model. You know, we just texted each other the other day. He was like, I miss you so much. I was like, I miss you more. He's coming to Atlanta, so I'm definitely going to go and see him. I'm so excited. Yeah. What advice does he give you? Like, what does he say? About boys. He helps me. What? Yeah. He's great. He's wonderful. I love him. Advice for boys. You know, that stays in the text messages.
Now, mind you, Millie Bobby Brown was 14 years old in this clip, and Drake was 32. In what world is a 32-year-old man sending text to a teenager saying, I miss you, and giving her advice about boys? So once again, my intuition was correct. I said it before, and I will say it again. When it comes to supporting your business, your brand, or your app, being Black owned is not enough for me.
So my question is, being white owned, let me just tell you some of the challenges that Facebook, Meta, and other spaces have been documented. Okay, this is documented. So one of the documented challenges with Facebook, as you know, is that it was continuously selling people's information. Continuously, our information no longer belonged to us behind Facebook. You thought you were just signing up, and the man sold all of your information. Not only that, when it was political season, who you were interested in was showing up nonstop based on, you know, how you search on the internet. All of the privacy has been voided on spaces like Meta. All of the privacy. And this is the part that really, really, really gets me even further, is that a few years ago, parents was having big issues with Facebook because Facebook was showing children sexual ads. Listen to me. Facebook was showing children pornography. And the parents was like, what the hell? Why are my children being shown ads about sex, etc.? This was all under Facebook. She said nothing about it. She never discussed it. All she did was say why the Black man is a problem. And this is what concerns me. First of all, when Isaac Hayes said that The future belongs to academics, Kai Cenat, and whoever else he mentioned. I do not believe that he was giving these young men an endorsement to their character, to their behavior. All he is saying that these young men are game changing and shaping a future with other young people. Young people. I know you all know young people have a way of connecting with the world different than we do. Kai Cenat can get, do you understand that Kai Cenat had probably about, he told teenagers, his demographic, that he was going to show up in New York City to give out some PS5s, Xboxes, or whatever, he was giving out. And the police department had to come and escort what was happening because he had tens of thousands of youth show up. Tens of thousands of youth showed up for Kai Cenat. I'm sorry, but tens of thousands of youth do not show up for Franchesca. Tens of thousands of youth do not show up for Madam President. So the point that I'm making surrounding this is, the man had an assessment about these people having impact over a demographic that neither of us connect to. I don't feel like he should be scrutinized for that. He shouldn't be penalized for that. And let me just say this too. I grew up in the hood. Somebody say something you don't like, you start talking about their mama and shit. You say, oh, he ugly, da-da-da. The guy say, oh, she ugly, look at that, da-da-da. This is how a lot of Black folks have been fighting their entire life. It's through scrutiny, through, they call it jonesing. I'm talking about one another. So we look at these people and think that they're all CEOs and overly intellectual. Man, you back these folks up in the corner. They come from the same goddamn hood as everybody else, which means that when they come from this space, you ain't finna put this man's face on screen and talk about his, what he said in a tweet and make it law and then think that he's not going to have public opinion about you. Public opinion about you, because this is something that I learned as a person who do social commentary, which I am forgetting to announce. Do not forget that you're tuned to the flynubianmoney.com. This is where you go to grow. Flynubianmoney.com. This is where you go to grow. If you are always thinking of money and elevation and education, you should always start here. If you want to keep up with women who have a voice, you should text Queens to 87948. If you want to keep up with Madam President, text Madam, MADAM, to 87948. Yes, as I was saying, it's important. It's important. This guy is not going to let you attack him and let that be that. Now, for me, I will say this. What I learned personally is if you are critical of others, others will be critical of you. I do social commentary. I'm constantly talking about certain subject matters. I'm constantly talking about people and what they've done, what they've said, where they went, blah, blah, blah. And guess what? It invites public scrutiny. It invites people to come and criticize me. When I go online and I say, oh, this woman is behaving like a hoe, guess what? It invites a bunch of women who are offended by the word hoe to come and say, hold on, you don't know her like that. It comes with the territory. So it's going to bother me when a woman throws a lick at a man and he can't throw his lick back. You can't do that. You can't go and scrutinize him, criticize him, and then the moment he look you up and down and say, well, you ain't looking too good yourself, then you go run and say he's misogynistic and he doesn't respect Black women. It's not fair, and it's not true, and it's not real. So, the illusion dealing with the illusion of like, you know, what we say is real and what we say is law. That's not true. All right, I want to show you. I want to show you more of this because they continue on to the point where, you know, Isaac Hayes and Franchesca, they both end up, you know, coming to, you know, the end. It's like, all right, whatever. But it was Isaac Hayes. He gave her an apology. And the reason he gave her an apology is because he took a photo of her and her ex-husband who was white, and he just basically says they not like us, you know, basically implying that, you know, she is not, you know, of the Black community, blah blah blah, because I believe, you know, of the interracial marriage. I don't know, I'm not going to think for him. My job is to show you, you know, what he says. But here I'm going to let you hear what he said, and then I'm going to show you what she said in response, and then I'm going to close this out and give you my final thoughts on this entire situation. So let me show you this right here. Present. I want you to see what Isaac Hayes says. He didn't just let this, you know, happen. He wanted to step in. If you could
this
see
way.
it.
But let's talk about what's been going on the last couple of days. On Friday, a video was made about me using content by a creator named Franchesca Ramsey. I don't personally know Franchesca Ramsey. I've only communicated with her one time back in 2022, inviting her to Fanbase. I've never said anything negative about Franchesca Ramsey. I've never made content about Franchesca Ramsey. The subject of her content was the fact that when the TikTok ban was happening, she was being harassed online by people that were calling her anti-Black for not joining Fanbase, because she said being Black enough is not a reason to join an app and download it, which is her right. Her reasons were that I use references of Aiden Ross, Kai Cenat, and DJ Academics as the inheritors of culture moving forward in media. My use of those three individuals was in no way an endorsement of any of their behavior, but they are arguably some of the most popular streamers online. And that was my point, that younger generations are going to get their content from this generation. I guess Franchesca thought that that was an endorsement of their behavior. And so she gave a scathing rebuke of my character as an individual, assuming that I support these gentlemen, which is not the intention of what I did. And she will not be joining Fanbase. I made a response in a series of tweets. And some of the things said in those tweets crossed the line. And I apologize to Franchesca for that. I want to make something clear, though. When you take a person and use them as a backdrop and make commentary of them, they have a right to respond. I responded to content made about myself. Granted, what I said crossed the line, and I take accountability for that. Subsequently, there have been attacks on my character and my company and people that I care about. And I want to express how dangerous that is. I absolutely agree with the person's right to not use Fanbase, disagree with if I like Drake or not, disagree that if I think young people are going to inherit culture. But the narrative of misogyny and attacking Black women is just simply not true. And it's very dangerous. And it speaks to an issue in our community, the African-American community, that's really troublesome. We're in an era right now where we need each other more than ever. We got to have each other's backs. We got to not be throwing darts at one another because we don't agree with the choice in rap artist or prospective future of what an industry may be about. And that's what took place here. And as a CEO of a company, there's a certain level of restraint and maturity that you have to have in, building a company. And I felt I've done a pretty good job of that. up until Friday. My passion for my company is real. The dedication to Fanbase, its mission, what it stands for is real. I've worked enormously hard, as well as a great many other people. So in our community, when we cannibalize and try to destroy businesses, when people say things that we don't agree with or take offense with, it's dangerous. And we've got to do better. I have to do better in receiving criticism for the way that Fanbase is as a company at this stage. And that's understandable. People have a right to choose. This is not, free market society. But I want to make it very, very clear that some of the narratives that have been going around about the efficacy of what we're doing as a company and raising capital, how we're building the app, me personally, are out of bounds and not true. And if we continue to tear each other down, regardless of whether, people want to destroy Fanbase or not, it doesn't change the fact that Black people are being pushed out of the economic opportunity that we deserve. We do not own infrastructure on these platforms. We do not own much of anything that we help scale and build to billion-dollar companies. And if we have selective offense to things that people say, it's not going to progress anywhere for us. 2 Black women, those of you that know me and those of you that don't, I would hope that I have expressed more than enough respect to all of you to know that I'm not a misogynist or a person that hates women. I love us. I love the people that work at Fanbase, and I love my passion for what I'm doing. I will continue to do that. I will continue to be a better founder and CEO and learn from this. And I will continue to fight for the change and the future of social media by building the best social media platform for content creators in the social economy in the world. And I hope you join me on this journey. Thank you.
All right, so I just wanted you all to hear it out through its entirety, and I will say this: once Francesca in the background, but once he stated that, I just want to say that the woman stated behind it, apology not accepted. So this is when I come in because I'm a woman. So as a woman, you can talk to women differently than men. So as you know, my mother and my uncle, when they were growing up, of course, my mama and my uncle, if they were having feuds, my uncle said, I'm gonna get my sister on you. And then the sister comes in so there can be a fair situation, a fair brawl. But here's what I will say. The problem is with Franchesca, and she is the problem completely. And the reason that she's the problem is because she went to this extreme, misogynistic. How is he a misogynistic man? Because he said that these young men are the future. Because he said that these young men are the future of social media, because they have millions and millions of followers, because they relate to a demographic of gaming. And here's another thing. She says, apology not accepted. So you don't want to accept his apology, but you never got an apology from Meta for all the lies, for stealing the information, for showing children pornography. You never got an apology behind them. And you talk about support. You saw Mark Zuckerberg at Donald Trump's inauguration. You saw him having meetings with Trump. You see him talking about giving donations to the Trump administration. So my thing is, you're biased. You're not telling the truth. This is just a way for you to hammer on a brother, for whatever your reason is, because you don't have the consistency. You don't hold the same standards up to everyone. You want to hold him to a standard that you hold no one else. Delta had planes falling out of the sky recently. They didn't issue an apology, but you're not going to stop flying with them, will you? You'll never stop flying with them. The hair care industry have been known to put toxic chemicals in the hair of, all Black women products predominantly. And you never did a video on why you do not support them. You never did a video on how, they're ruining the scalp of Black women. But him, you want to hold to a standard. You called him a misogynist because he decided to defend himself and his company. One of the things that this really brings out to me even further is that Black people are not ready for a race war in any capacity. I say this often and I'll say it again. We're not equipped. Anytime you have, us at each other in a big way, and then it don't, like, for the smallest things, making it drastic, not to mention the level of women that's hopping on her bandwagon, the level of women that's coming behind what she's saying and saying, yeah, girl, cancel him. Why? You haven't canceled the school system that keep labeling Black children as, special ed, who keep, denying Black boys the ability for advancement. You don't stop that system. Why you want to stop his? I'm just here to challenge us, to let us know, to show and highlight how we are consistently playing games with one another while giving them the complete pass. We're not serious. We got the smoke, we got the smoke for each other, but never for people who openly disrespect us. You always got the smoke for each other. Always. Oh, he doing such and such to Black women. He ain't did nothing to Black women. All he did was told some broad online that her makeup looked ugly. All of a sudden, he's deemed horrible. But here's what I also know about some of the women. I've worked with tons of powerful women. I won't say tons, but I've worked with powerful women. And I've worked with women who, could be the face and a pillar of Black face unity. Oh, this person is Black, Black unity. And then they're horrible to other women. And this is what's happening. This fake ass online rah-rah sister girl shit, I ain't fooled by that. I've been to the brunches. I know what's happening, what's going on. This fake ass sisterhood shit that's going on. Toxicity within sisterhood is a problem. Toxicity within sisterhood is a problem. If you get the opportunity to sit up with a bunch of women and talk about, these different challenges, and no one is able to call you out, and no one is able to tell you where you're wrong without you being offended, then you are a problem. You attacked this man. You attacked his character. You attacked his company. And then you went on and said, he's a misogynist. You ain't said nothing about your ex-husband who's divorced. Y'all, you said, oh, he posted a picture of me and my ex-husband from 10 years ago. Yeah, talk about his ass. What's wrong with him? What was the issue with him? Since you got so much to say about Isaac Hayes III, I'm not falling for this dumb, stupid, rah, Black girl magic nonsense if it doesn't make sense. let me tell you what a close friend of mine told me. She said, men and women need one another. Men and women need one another. We need one another. We have to be delicate to one another. Yes, there are times where we will have a fight. There are times where we will be at it. But then there are times when we can't grind a person. We can't say, oh, you ain't this, and that, and grind them. We know the history of America, and most of us ain't packed up yet. Ain't packed up yet. But all of a sudden, you want people to pack up on this man and his company? Because being black ain't enough for you to download an app? That's a lie. That's a lie. No matter how evil, no matter how inconsistent, racist, sexist Hollywood is, you never stop pursuing that. You never stop pursuing the idea of being a part of that because you're full of shit. That's why. All right, I must go. It is time. I just really did not like what happened and transpired. And I also felt like Isaac Hayes, he was backed up against the wall and he didn't have a lot of support. Because as you saw, oftentimes, a lot of people, they're fickle, they're sometiming, they're inconsistent. So all that to say that, believe women. I don't believe in that. I believe in believing what is honest, what is true. You don't just believe a person because of their gender. That doesn't make sense. You believe a person who's telling the truth. You get to the truth. You figure it out. So all that to say that I would not be ostracizing men, nor will I be ostracizing women. I do not believe that because a person is a man that, he's horrible, and because a person is a woman, she's excellent. No. And that's why I am Madam President with a Z, and I'm 100% politically incorrect. So I will say this: if you have time to download Fanbase today, if you do. If you don't, okay. But I have Fanbase myself. I'm on it sometimes, but I'm not on it, as consistently as I'm on YouTube. So all that to say that, he is continuing to work through the different challenges that he, has with the app. But I feel like, yeah, being black is enough. Being black is enough to download an app. It's not a harmful app. It's not a hookup app. It's an app. It's just one more app to use, to utilize, to communicate, to do nothing with. When we are online, we're not doing shit. We looking, we're scrolling. Why would I be like, yeah, I want to look and scroll through everybody else's app, but yours? Nah, I don't want to. I don't have a problem with that. So all that to say, I'll see you guys tomorrow at 9:30. Thank you for being with me today. As you know, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me, and I appreciate that. Before I go, I just would like to say, if you want to support Madam President in any capacity, I want you all to download. If you have Kindle, I think you can download my ebook, Matters of the Heart by Madam President, who I post to be a compilation of short stories, poems, and as well as Facebook posts over the years. I think you will enjoy it. That's one. The second thing is I have a course that I'm going to teach next month with my sister and friend, Chris Iman. I'm in the process of working this whole thing out and through. So I got to have a way for you all to sign up, with me so that you all could get the information as it comes. So I'll have that for you tomorrow. I'll tell you where to text. I'll tell you where to go, and then we can get going on this. I appreciate you. See you tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Have a good day. I went over long today, guys. I'm sorry.